What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Behind the Reel. Tonight we have a first-time guest, Mr. Matt Skucius. We're going to talk about his current standings in the Air Capital Kayak Anglers. He is currently sitting in second place. One tournament left of the year. We're going to talk about his most recent win out at Eureka City Lake. We fished there this past Saturday, and kind of a cool deal the way that whole thing went down. So we want to break that down and talk about how he was able to stay in a positive mindset and finish her out. So we're going to bring him on here in just a minute. Something I do want to mention, the Southeast Kansas Kayak Anglers are going to be out at Cedar Creek this weekend. I believe they're doing a solo tournament as well as a team tournament out there. So Cedar Creek's one that I've always wanted to cross off the list. So I'm going to try my very best, as long as my wife will let me, to get out there and cross that one off the list. And somebody just posted, I think it was on the Air Capital page, a big old bass that was caught recently out of there in a bass boat tournament. Another event that we have coming up, the last event of the year, we're going to be fishing out at El Dorado Lake. This is also going to kind of double as a Kansas Bass Nation Kayak Series event. So if you guys have not qualified to fish the state championship yet, this is going to be your last opportunity of the year. We're going to qualify kind of depending on how many people we have turn out, but I'm thinking we'll probably end up qualifying 10 people from that tournament. So make sure you guys come out, get an opportunity to fish in the state championship. Going to be held on Melbourne this year, October 2nd. So if you do well in that one, you'll get to go fish against all the big boys next year. And they're going to do a kayak tournament in conjunction with the Bassmaster Classic. That was pretty cool to see. First time ever this year. So really cool to see big spotlights being put on kayak anglers. Make sure you come on out, support these guys, right? Support the sponsors of the local clubs, whatever club you're in. Pay attention to these guys. Bearded Baits, I got some cool stuff from them. I've got some jigs. They make some really nice crankbaits as well, airbrush, custom painted, hand-tied skirts on the jigs, all that cool stuff. Make sure you check those guys out. Bearded Baits, they are a local company out of Wichita, so definitely appreciate those guys. Another one too that's been with us for a long time, Savior Outdoors. This is actually their action camera retriever. So if you guys are running a GoPro out on the water, this thing will allow you to get it back in case you ever do drop it in the drink. And they make rod retrieval devices, all that good stuff as well. Last but not least, Outdoorsman Coffee Company. Check them out, veteran owned. Again, they're supporting grassroots kayak fishing. This is actually their serious angler. I don't know if you can see that variety, but I know several of the club members are drinking the Outdoorsman Coffee Company. Hit me up if you guys want a discount code. We'll get you fixed up with that. All right, so that's enough with the plugs here. We're going to go ahead and bring on Mr. Matt Skucius, and yeah, let's get right to it. What's up, man?
Hey, John. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Long day at work, wasn't it?
Long day at work, yes. Long and hot day at work to make matters worse.
It was very, very warm outside today. Did it get up to 100? I know it felt like it.
I think we were over 100 up here, but yeah, I'm glad to be in the air conditioning for the evening.
You did mention that you went to your second job, and that's how you're able to support your habits.
Yep. Me and my buddy, we do some work after hours in the evenings, on the weekends, whenever we have free time. So helps with the hobbies, helps with the groceries, and just everyday stuff.
Heck yeah, man. Gotta respect the grind. Air Capital Chris says, "What's up, man?" Ryan Brooke, who is I think the next person in AOI points right behind you. He's winking at you. I don't know if is that maybe he's just
I
talking smack
don't
there.
know what that's about.
And then we got the Honey Hole Hunter says, had to stop in, show my support, nothing but love from my way. Shout out to Zach. Appreciate you, man. So, all right, man. Well, we wanna get behind the reel. We want to find out who Matt is. Give us a little introduction. Tell us how you got into kayak fishing, how you maybe started fishing, and then kind of what got you into the kayak specifically.
Okay. Um, Definitely years ago growing up, my parents, they actually kind of both got me into fishing. My dad would, of course, take us on the weekends out to the lakes in the boat, and most of the time we drift for walleye. Every once in a while, we'd go bass fishing just to change it up, do something different. Um, I was fortunate, grew up with a lake in my hometown that I would fish almost every day if I could. Um, so I was able to, fish by myself, go down there for a few hours, try new techniques, do different things. And then when we got old enough, we actually joined a junior Bassmaster club with the Sand Hills out of Hutchinson. And so on the weekends, my mom would actually drive us out to those events, and we'd fish against from other kids in the area. We'd fish off the bank, and then the parents would help us score our fish. We did it the same way. We use a golden rule, and they'd help us measure, and then we'd tally up the scores at the end. So it's very similar to what we're doing in the kayak events. Um, Last year was actually my first year I fished with the Flint Hills kayak group, and enjoyed it. Did well. Got third for AOY in that event. So I did a lot better than I thought I would. I was just out more to try it for an experience to see what it was all about. Um, and then fast forward to this year, decided to upgrade. I got a pedal drive kayak that has greatly helped me out. But then also wanted to fish more events. That's why I joined Air Capital. I wanted to qualify for the KBF tournament, which I did that down at the Mind Strip pits. So overall, just doing a lot better than I anticipated. Meeting a lot of great guys, learning new stuff along the way, fishing some lakes I've never been on before. Overall, just having a good time with myself. So um, it's been fun, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I know got the KBF tournament, got a couple more with the Flint Hills coming up, so it's going to be a busy couple months. But I think I'm ready. We'll find out.
Heck yeah,
So
man. And have you've done a little bit of um, co-angler stuff or big boat stuff or
yeah. I did the KBF state qualifier out at Wilson this year. They took the top four. I think I placed seventh in that, so I was right on the cut line almost. Um, but I've fished some of the bass tournaments with the KBF in the past. They're fun. There's something different to do. You don't have to worry about pedaling your boat or pedaling your kayak or paddling your kayak. So there's a lot of guys on the KBF side that do the boat tournaments. I don't see them fishing the kayak side or the series. Um, so I don't know why. Maybe they're nervous about it. Maybe they think they got too much going on. But it's definitely a different side, a different field, a different group of anglers and competitors. There's people on both sides that are just absolute sticks. But it's fun to meet new people and enjoy the same hobbies you do, and have a little competitiveness while you're at it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, guys, and I think he's saying KBF. He's not talking about kayak bass fishing. I think he's talking about the Kansas Bass Nation
Kansas
events
Bad
or
Nation, yeah,
the Bass Federation or whatever it's called now, right? So
yep, yep.
those may be one and the same. But okay, so now that you brought that up, I'm curious what you think. Like, do you think that the kayak guys could hang with the bass boat guys? Do you think that what do you think the other way around? Like, could the bass boat guys hang with the kayak guys? And what do you think there? Have you ever thought
um,
about
I think I mean, yeah, there's guys that fish in the kayaks. I think they'd do well on the bass boat side of things. And there's guys that fish out of the bass boats that I think they would do well in the kayak side as well. One thing fishing out of a kayak that has taught me is in a bass boat, you can, go everywhere on the lake. You can be there in 5 minutes, in a kayak, you're kind of more secluded to one spot or two spots, depending on where you're fishing. So it's really taught me, slow down, fish more thorough, try different techniques, just try to pick out more productive areas on the body of water that I'm fishing, especially when we go to a bigger reservoir like Milford, Belvern, Perry, that sort of thing. So.
Okay. So how did you make a determination at, let's say, specifically Eureka? Did you do any study? Did you have an area picked out? And then you did mention Melbourne, and we've got an event coming up, a pretty big one, right? I mean, a chance to fish a big national event. So have you done any recon on that one?
I haven't done any recon on Melbourne. I got an idea of what I want to do, but depending on the time of year, we still got some time. So if it rains, that could completely change my pattern of what I have in mind. As far as Eureka goes, before we went to Eureka, I looked at Google Earth. I tried to look at as many YouTube videos as I could just to try to figure out what the lake was like. Was there grass? Is there docks? What's the clarity of the water? Those sort of things. And one thing I noticed, and I'm going to kind of spill a little secret here, on Eureka Lake, if you look at the docks with the longer walkways going out to where the boats are in the slips, those docks have shallower water underneath of them. There's some docks that look like they're 30, 40, 50 foot long. Those are in shallow water. The docks that are 10 foot long, 15 foot long, those docks have deeper water access to them. So that's one thing I kind of clued in on since it's summertime, is maybe those docks with deeper water close by would hold more fish just for water temperature reasons. So. Okay.
Heck yeah. And did you use a graph to tell you that?
Like I said, I used Google Earth, and then actually when I headed down to the strip pits, I stopped by, threw the kayak on, and actually took a trip around the lake with my graph just to verify what I was seeing. So they gave me an idea to see what kind of grass was down there, what it looked like, what the water clarity looked like, that sort of thing. So having never been on it before, just give me a little insight, little information.
What kind of graph are you running?
Got a Garmin on it, not for sure the model. So it came with the kayak, and I've just been using it. So I'm not too picky on what I use.
Yeah, I'm the guy. I'm like, I got a Helix 9 mega side imaging Gen 3 networking with the woolly mabobber thingy madoos. I know all the specs.
Well, you're supposed to. You work for Russell.
Yeah, I sold a lot of fish finders today. I really did. Today was a good day for being in marine electronics sales. The Honey Hole Hunters says, #Scantman says, why is it not qualified as a kayak, and what are the specific size regulations on that? You know what, man? I don't know. I didn't really make that decision. I kind of just adopted existing rules. So I couldn't tell you. We have in the past thought about allowing other sorts of watercraft. And when we did it, those guys didn't really show up. So didn't see a huge advantage to doing it, whether that was like canoes or float tubes. So at some point you got to draw the line, and I guess that's where they drew the line at. So, but hey, man, if you ever want to come out and fish a tournament, I'll put you in a kayak for sure. Casual Bass Guy says he's excited for Melbourne. I haven't done any map study. I need to. Yes, you do. Fat Basses TV says, golly, hey, Daddy Skucius. I'm surprised he didn't call you Kunis. but not at all surprised that he called you daddy. Air Capital Chris says, wish I could have made it. Yes, sir. We wish you could have as well. Although you missed out on a dink fest. Ben Posner says, are you picking the winner of the giveaway on the stream? I am not, Ben. Appreciate you joining the channel. This is our somewhat weekly podcast, and what we do on here is we bring on the winners of our local events. We bring them on and we try to get behind the reel and talk about how they were able to come away with the win, conditions, and all that good stuff. So Ben, stay tuned. I plan on doing that video very soon, and we will pick a winner. I've got some things I need to give away. Plus, we do have a 500 subscriber giveaway coming up. So we're not as close to that as I thought we were. I had like a bot attack last night. I had like 23 fake profiles come and subscribe to the channel and comment on videos, and then they just dipped out. So anyways, that was sad. Fat Basses TV. I got Kunis laughing pretty good. There you go. I saw it was a ton of small limits. DJ 1775 being a true hashtag or quote unquote monster. Heck yeah. And man, we're getting a lot of comments. What a charmer, Fat Basses, Fat Man Bassin. I don't know. They like to poke fun at each other. So when is and they like to poke fun at me apparently. When is John going to qualify at Melbourne? I'm going to qualify at Melbourne whenever you actually stick around for the whole entire tournament and don't dip out because you're getting skunked. How about that? All right, we need some drama. Hashtag fishing drama. All right, so tell us about Eureka. You know, if you had to like sum up the whole experience, and go as long and detailed as you want. Talk about how you might have struggled, maybe what you caught them on, and maybe what you learned and how you were able to use the information that you gathered in order to come away with the win.
I guess when we took off that morning at Eureka, I had 2 or 3 spots that I was like, I want to hit these first, try to find a good fish, because in the back of my head, I was like, the rest of the day, it's just going to be a dink fest. But if I can get 1 or 2 good ones this morning, then I'd be set for the day. Lo and behold, here comes, 11:30, 12 o'clock, and I got 1 fish. And I started to struggle, and I started to tell myself, just go stick the kayak in the back of the truck. There's only 2 hours left. You're done for the day. The fishing was definitely off compared to what I was expecting. I had tried my lucky crankbait. I had thrown a worm. I had thrown a jig. I had done several things that I thought would produce a fish for me, or at least tell me, hey, try this. And then I don't know why, but something in the back of my head said, pick up a chatterbait and just start shucking it. I was out, I guess, on the shallow end there to the west, and that's what I did. I picked up that chatterbait. I seen some shad flipping around the docks, and I started skipping it underneath and skipping it to the logs and the grass, anything I could find, and I ended up catching 2 like 13.5-inch fish, and I was just overwhelmed. I was like, all right, I got 3. There's a chance. And then something in the back of my head said, hey, go back to where we launched from. There's some grass over there or some deeper water nearby, and try that. And so I pretty much put everything down, turned the yak around, and pedaled all the way back to the launch area. Came across you leaving, and I'm like, John just fished everything out of this. There's going to be nothing left. And I hate to say it, but even before you were around the corner going the other way, I was hooked into my first fish, and that was the biggest one that I caught at a tournament, which I think was 17 or so. So I don't know if a school of them moved up or what happened, or if I was just in the right area at the right time. But they were in the grass, and it was like every cast. I caught 2 15s, I think. I caught one that was almost 15. And within half hour, 45 minutes, I had my 5 fish. I was feeling good. I was like, I just need one more. and I mean, just kept catching them. Once I found that chatterbait was on, I didn't switch back to the crankbait or anything else. I just stuck with it for the next hour to make it through. And I did. I caught several other fish, 12, 13 inches, nothing to upgrade me. But at least I found something that they wanted it. They were striking it, and it was, catching me fish like I needed to. I will say the bite on my end I thought was off. When I was reeling the chatterbait in, it would feel like I got snagged on a piece of grass, and there was just tension on the line. So I shook a few of them off, I'm sure, but then I finally figured it out that, hey, that's not a piece of grass. That's just them holding onto the chatterbait, not really shaking their head or anything. So then I started setting the hook, and I started catching a few more. So they're just little things like that the guy needs to pay attention to if the conditions are changing on the water, I think. Casually.
They're talking smack to each other.
Oh yeah. So they're just little things on the water that I think a guy, if he pays attention to them, then he'll do better. Like I said, I was down on myself at 11:30 noon, and I just wanted to be done. I only had one fish. I think that's a person's biggest competitor is themselves, because I mean you can talk smack to everybody, but you truly, I don't think talking smack truly gets inside a guy's head as much as somebody who's not catching fish, because then you start telling yourself, am I doing the right thing? What's everybody else doing? And you see guys come by and like, oh, how you doing? Oh, I got one fish. Oh, I got 5. Oh, great.
Yeah.
So just having those thoughts in your own head bounce around, telling yourself, hey, you only have one fish. What are you doing wrong? Really hurts a guy, more than anything. So you just got to keep your head in the game, pick up your go-to bait, pick up your confidence bait, and start doing what you know. Start doing what you know how to do.
Were they shallow? CBG wants to know.
I caught them, I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 foot. Once I got shallower than that, I caught a couple that were maybe 12, 13 inches, but the bigger ones seemed to be on the edge of the weed line. So I didn't really go much deeper than that. I did try deeper earlier in the day, probably closer to 10 foot, and no such luck there.
Ryan wants to know, why do you burn your grass?
If there's underwater grass in the lake, like down at Lynn County or Cali County, where the grass is, out deeper, 5, 6, 7, 8 foot of water, I'll burn a crankbait through the grass. I'll actually burn it to try to tickle the top of the grass, and then if it gets hung up, I give it a good hard snap, and it kind of pulls it out of there real quick, almost get a reaction bite out of it. You do catch a lot of grass that way, but for me, that's just been effective. It's a good way to cover water for me. And if you find a school of fish that are active, it seems like you burn the crankbait through there, you catch one, it gets the others excited, so you can almost toss right back in and catch more.
Might be losing you there. At least we got him to pause.
Always one in my arsenal, at least.
There he is. Okay. I think we're okay. Okay, so the burning the crankbait thing seems to work, and you fish that mostly in the grass?
Yeah.
Do you like to burn a crankbait in riprap or any other scenario?
Honestly, for me, it depends on the time of year. Like early in the spring, I'll burn like a rock crawler or a wigglewort, something along them natures. But as it gets further along in the year, I usually, if there's grass, I'll burn a crankbait. Sometimes I'll throw a worm in it. Sometimes I'll toss a jig or a chatterbait. Then towards the end of the year, September, October, when the shad are in the schools and the bass are actively feeding on them, I'll start burning the crankbait a little more, even in the open water. It's like they see one shad trying to escape or wounded, and they'll go after it almost.
Chris says you plus the launch point seems to be a legit strategy at this point.
Yeah, I think every tournament I've actually sat and watched everybody take off and then turned around and fished the launch area. So
nice.
That's where the big one came from at Lynn County, so it must work.
Yeah, it wasn't too far. I have that on video. Well, not you catching it, but I do. I'm editing the Lion fishing, the Lion State Fishing Lake video right now, and I made sure to keep that in the video.
You got Joel in there too, right?
I don't have him catching a fish though. I didn't get his big one on camera. Fat Basses TV says we need to ban your Lucky Crankbait.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
It's a 6 cents, right? The one that.
Yes.
Has it been the same one that you've been using, or?
It's been the same crankbait the entire year for me. So the day I lose it, I'm gonna cry.
Confidence, kind of a confidence thing at this point.
Yeah. I could auction it off at the end of the year, help pay for expenses next year. I bet Fat Basses would buy it.
There you go. Okay, CBG says props for seeing it through to the end. Boom, right on the money. Me versus me every time.
Yep.
So, did you get in your head where you said you were about ready to pack it up and call it a day? I mean, were you pretty bummed out at one point?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, when you pass 2, 3, 4. Am I back?
Yeah, I can. I lost you for a second there, but
okay. Yeah, when you pass 2, 3, 4 guys on the water and they all have fish, and you only have one, and it's a squeaker, you can start getting down on yourself pretty hard. So you just got to stay in the game mentally. It can be a hard task to do, especially like a Eureka, where it's 90, 95 degrees and the wind's blowing. I actually wanted to try the north side of the lake, but the wind just wasn't cooperating. So there's always next year, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go back to Eureka or not. What do you think?
I think we should give it another shot. Lots of places to fish on the lake. I think it's big enough. Everybody got spread out pretty well, and from what I've seen, fish were caught on the west end and fish were caught on the east end and about everywhere in between. So
what do you think? Like, I think that's kind of a cool, like those grinder tournaments. Like if you look at, the Bassmaster events, like the Sabine Rivers where, like 10-pound limits will get you, in the money and stuff. So like, what do you think like there is to be said about that for the guys that can, grind it out and put together a limit in those tough situations? They might be a bunch of small fish in the lake, but it is mentally exhausting to kind of know that you're up against that to begin with too.
Yeah. I actually kind of like those better in a way where you have to grind to catch the fish. Just because I think it makes you a better angler overall. Makes you really pick apart a lake and fish certain structure, what they're related to, and go from there. But then again, it's fun to go to these other lakes where, everybody's going to catch 85, 90 inches and just have fun with it. So.
Heck yeah. Talking smack all the way into, hey, did you sabotage my trolling? Chris says he's his own worst critic. I struggle so hard to catch a limit compared to you guys. But some of these lakes can be, and like, Lion and even Cali, like I struggled to put together a limit. Even at Cali, I caught 6 fish all day, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you were throwing the giant wake bait too.
That's true.
I mean, kudos to you. You stuck with that the entire day. If you're going to throw a giant wake bait like that all day, uh, I think you really have to stick with it. Yeah, you're going to get bites, and when you do, more than likely they're going to be quality fish, but they're going to come, maybe few and far in between.
I got a new
Hey,
one.
there you go. Got a new one. It's got a tail too.
This is a different one. I haven't fished it yet. This is supposed to be a deeper diver, or a countdown, I think he calls it. So I can fish it a little bit deeper. Pretty cool trout pattern there. But yeah, Chris says take your lucky crankbait and throw it in the shadow box. That's a good idea. Put it next to your trophies.
Yeah.
Because do you have more than one trophy now with us?
Yes, I have Big Bass
Big
from
bass.
Lynn County, and then the
right.
first place from Eureka. So,
Which that's in the works. So don't freak out.
no, I'm fine.
But so sorry, guys, I was slacking on that. But the nice thing is, I sent him all the information over for everybody to get their nameplates as well. So you'll get yours with your nameplate on it, and you won't have to wait for me to get that back to you. CBG says, what would you say your biggest strength is, technique-wise, other than the crank?
Biggest strength.
And before you get into it, there you go.
I don't know if I can just pick out like one strength. I would almost consider myself a trash fisherman, because I will throw a crank when I need to, or when I think conditions are right to throw a crankbait. But I'm not scared. Like down at Eureka, I picked up the chatterbait. I feel confident throwing a chatterbait. I feel confident throwing a crankbait.
So do you consider yourself a power fisherman to some degree?
I do in a way. I'd rather move fast moving baits than sit there and drag a jig on the bottom. I do have spinning rods, spinning reels. I have thrown shaky heads. I have thrown Ned rigs. I despise throwing a wacky rig. That's like my last resort. Just throwing a Cinco and just letting it fall. But I mean, overall, I just try to be as versatile as I can. That way I can cover, as many techniques as I can, from, throwing top water to throwing cranks, throwing swim jigs, chatterbaits.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, I would say I would consider myself somewhat of a power fisherman, but I do like to throw a jig every now and then as well. And that's what I caught him on at Cowleak. Marco kind of keyed me in on the jig. I was throwing like a craw, Texas rig, and he said he had caught a few on the jig. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw the jig, and that's what I caught mine on. But speaking of fishing fast, have you ever? I know you know Justin Russell, my boss.
Yep.
Have you ever fished in a boat with him before?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. We fished out. You like to fish a Ned rig behind him, right?
We fished a tournament out at Wilson probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I just remember I drew Justin as a boater, and we show up the day of the tournament. He's like, "Man, I don't know. What should we do?" And I said, "I got an idea if you want to go with it." And he goes, "Yeah, let's do it." So I told him, let's go this direction, let's fish this bank, and I go throw a buzzbait. And I think it was July or early August. It was hot, but there was a quick bite in the morning for half an hour. Then the sun came up and everything shut off. And I think Justin had his 5 fish in like 10 minutes. So he did well at tournament. If I remember right, he even qualified for the state team. I think he was third. But yeah, I've fished with Justin several times, so he's always hooked me up when I've needed him to. So
He fishes fast,
he's
man.
always got a fancier. Yeah, he fishes fast, and he's always got a fancier boat than I've ever had.
Yeah, he's got a few boats. Yeah, I fished behind him, and I think I tried throwing like a jig or something behind him, and I was just like, nope. I had to bust out the crankbait. Like that's the only thing you can fish in the back of his boat. Chris says he thinks it's windy every time. That is a fact. We're in Kansas, and it's always windy. Can we do Mac again? He's talking about McPherson. I don't know. That might be a good one. I got these dang gnats in here. I don't know what's going on. Or Gary, he says, which Gary was a good one. Ryan Brook, he caught a big old 22-incher out of there one year at a tournament.
If you get, yeah, I think Gary would do well. I really do.
And there's smallies in there too.
Yes. Smallies and largies, and actually here lately I've been going out to Gary and fishing. I actually fished Gary when I left Eureka on the way home because I was like, man, I actually need to catch something bigger than 13 inches. I went to Gary County, and I think I had probably 85, 87 inches. So,
oh, wow. Heck yeah. Ryan says, this guy burns the crank. I've witnessed it many times. It's retard fast. Impressive he catches it like that. Have to try myself. What's your favorite technique or bait?
Currently right now, I would say it's top water, throwing a whopper plopper, a spook, something to imitate shad on top of the surface of the water. So, I mean, it all just varies on what time of year it is. Early in the year, crankbait. When we fished, I won't give that secret away. If we're fishing something with grass, I'd probably have to say a crankbait. So,
okay. After we hit that record button, you can tell me whatever you were just getting ready. Fat Basses says, agreed, Ryan, probably using an 8-to-1 gear ratio with that crankbait.
I think it's actually a 7-3-1.
Pretty fast for a crankbait.
Yeah.
CBG says, dang, a 3-piece. I think he's talking about this. This is the baby slap trout from none other than Legal Dope Swim Baits right there. Shout out. So we've had him on the show. But yeah, it's a 3-piece countdown wake bait. Pretty sweet. CBG's calling, or Fat Bass is calling you out. I ratted on you. Sorry. That was my fault.
No, that's fine.
It was quiet without you, Fat Basses. We missed you. Chris wants to team up with you. He fishes the same way Chris does. Okay. CBG wants to know what the front runners for lakes to be added next year and which would be replaced or not at that point yet. Matt, what do you think? What are some of the lakes you would like to see remain on the schedule, and then for the ones that we have fished this year, and then which ones would you like to possibly see be replaced with something else? And if you have a recommendation on lakes that we could add, like what are some of your favorite lakes kind of in the area that we could fish?
I know Gary was brought up. I think Gary would fish well. I actually enjoyed fishing the Lynn County down by Melbourne. I know you guys, or Lion, my bad. You guys went to Wilson. I know that's a little bit of a drive out there, but I think Wilson fishes really well, kind of everywhere around the lake. When we fished that, I actually was on the west side of the lake, out by Manuka Point. The only thing I'd recommend is if it rains, if it even sprinkles, don't go on the dirt roads out there because they become super slick and it's very easily to slide off in the ditch and get stuck. I know we
Yeah,
had a fella
Marco.
do that with Air Capital. So, um,
Yep, that was
but yeah,
Marco.
being the first year, I mean, I think I had been down to Cali once before. I'm not sure on that, so that was a new adventure for me. Um, I think there's
Cali.
one like Cali. There's one by Cottonwood Falls. I think is that Butler or
Butler is around Atlanta or Latham. It's
okay. There's there's one up by Cottonwood Falls. I think that would probably be a good one as well, but I can't think of the name of that off the top of my head.
okay. I think what we want to do, CBG, I think we want to add some of the bigger lakes. Like Winfield City Lake. We didn't get a chance to fish that one. We ended up moving that one and replacing it with Wilson. So I think Winfield City Lake is going to be one that you'll see on the schedule next year. We'll probably keep Wilson on the schedule. I think that we're going to soon outgrow these smaller bodies of water, the state fishing lakes. They're fun to fish, but the fact of the matter is they're more like pond fishing. So I think that I would really like to add another level of kind of competitiveness to this, and to see people do a little bit more research on the lake before we get out there, maybe do some pre-fishing, do some map study, where you have to kind of like pick a part of the lake, like Matt was saying. He was fishing out west at Manuka, and some of us were at Hell Creek, and totally different ends of the lake where you're probably not going to have an opportunity to fish both places. So I think it's kind of cool to see that be added as another just another whole thing in the tournament fishing process. It just show up, all launch from one spot, and basically everybody have the same opportunity to fish the same water. That's cool and all, but I don't know, just try something new. I want to add some bigger lakes to the schedule for sure. CBG wants me to get that secret out of you. And then Air Capital Chris says, you were talking about river fishing earlier. How about we hit Fall River below the dam? Supposedly they have solid bass in it. Any experience with that?
As far as fishing Fall River, negative on that. So
I haven't either.
There are some rivers that go into reservoirs. They can hold fish. It has to be the right time of year, and you have to be in the right area. But they do hold fish. So
yeah, heck yeah. Let's see, what was I saying? Chase County State Fishing Lake. I've never been there, but I've heard it's good. I think that one's supposed to be pretty clear. CBG says he's behind the bigger lakes. And apparently I skipped a comment, some fire comment about the plopper. We got to give Joel the attention that he deserves. What is one thing, if you were the host of this show and you had your biggest competitor or you had your favorite angler on the show, and you only had one question to ask them, what is the one thing that you would want to know about your biggest competitor or your, maybe your favorite angler that you look up to?
That's actually a tough question. I mean, to be put on the spot like that.
What do you think you could learn from your your fishing hero, your fishing idol? What do you think that you could learn from them? Something that they do that maybe you haven't been able to figure out, or you could improve on?
Uh, I do know as far as myself improving. I mean, I know I've done well the past few tournaments, but as far as improving myself, I think I can help out with other anglers. Um, if anybody out there has a question, if anybody out there, sees me pedaling by and, has a question or whatever, stop and holler at me. I'll help you out. So I'll give you advice. It may not be good advice. It may not work for you. Because sometimes, what works for me doesn't work for somebody else. Um, but I mean, I'm not out there to, to be harsh or anything on anybody. I'm out there to have a good time, meet new people, learn new techniques. Um, I got questions. Everybody's got questions. We're all still trying to learn and get better ourselves. So, um, and I'm, just out there for the fun of it. Um,
Heck yeah, man.
still trying to think of, what I would ask somebody. That kind
That's
of
all
thing.
right. Yeah, we can come back to it. Chris says Chase is the one near Cottonwood Falls. Or Chris says Chase
Okay.
is the one. Let's see. Bone Creek is one that guys want to see. And apparently you can learn stuff from Fat Bass's TV. I don't know what you could possibly learn from him, but I'm sure you could learn something from him. May not be bass fishing related. And we may be having a bit of a connection issue, but I think he is back.
I'm
All
back.
righty. So, okay, so Angler of the Year. Like, I don't think you came into this thing like shooting for that, but we're here. We got one tournament left. You're 1 point behind first place. If you do well at El
Yep.
Dorado, there's a good chance you could come away with that trophy. Not only are we doing a plaque for Angler of the Year, but we're doing a nice cash payday. What do you think about that? It's going to be on El Dorado Lake. Tell us your experience there and how you feel going into that one.
Well, I guess first, I think you lost me again for a second.
Yeah, I think you might be
Am I back?
coming back around. All right, everybody take a drink every time he cuts out. Yeah, El
Actually, I
Dorado.
wasn't. Okay. Like I started to say before, I wasn't even thinking about, being in the position for ALY for the Air Capital guys. I wanted to fish the KBF side of it, so I decided to, fish the first one at Wilson. And then I seen you had some of those other lakes on your list to fish throughout the year. And I was like, you know what, I might just fish these as well. So I'm glad I did. I've met a lot of great people, made some new friends, and just, got more fishing on my weekends, I guess. As far as El Dorado goes, I have been on there, I think, 2 or 3 times in the past. It's always been tough. I think it can be a good lake to fish. I'm excited to go down there. I might have to make a couple pre-trips just to kind of look it over and figure things out. I've already been looking at maps and trying to figure out what I want to do. So it's going to be interesting. So.
Oh man. Okay.
I'm excited. I'm excited to actually get down there and fish. The day of the tournament, because I hope DJ's there, and that's going to help push me and help my drive to fish better, because I got.
We lost him. Hopefully he will be back to join us. I know he wasn't going to be able to stay. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm like choking on my own saliva here. I don't know what's going on. Looks like he's trying to join back here. So let's bring him back on. Hey yo.
Not sure what happened there.
Okay, so you're talking about, hoping that DJ was going to be there and that you could show him up, or I don't know, what were you getting at there?
I mean, the DJ has done well this year, and I mean, just for that extra little bit of competitiveness. So, having DJ there would, I would have to tell myself, hey, you got to fish good. You got to find fish. You got to take a good, clean picture with the mouth closed so you don't get a deduction.
Hey, that's important, but not when you beat everybody else by 5 inches. It really doesn't matter, does it?
No, that didn't hurt too bad, but in the back of my head, that's still a bad spot. Something bad I did. I was in a hurry. I was catching fish. I took a quick picture, and I didn't verify to see if the mouth was fully closed or not. Tossed them back in the lake. So, it is what it is. So,
just for a tip for you guys out there, like what I'll do is I'll put my net on the side of the kayak, kind of hanging into the water. I'll put the fish in the fish grips and then put it in the net. And then I'll go verify my pictures, make sure my pictures are all good, make sure mouth's closed, make sure identifier's in, make sure all my stuff's good there. And then, I may take another picture, pull the fish out of the net, take another picture if I need to, and then let them go. So that's something I kind of started doing this year. So something that maybe you guys can start doing just to make sure you don't end up having any deductions at the end of the day. If you're going to catch them and get them in the boat and put them on the board, you might as well get full credit for them, right? CBG wants to know, how many times are you going to pre-fish El Dorado? Is that even on the agenda? Like, are you gonna come down and do that, or what?
I hope to make at least one trip down. Like I said, just okay, I lost you again, but I hope to make at least one trip down to El Dorado, maybe two, just see what the lake looks like, check out some different areas on it. A lot could change between now and then. It could rain, it could get hotter. It's just, I got a few ideas where I want to go, but I just want to inspect those spots to see what it looks like. I don't know. Does El Dorado have blue-green algae like Milford does up here?
No.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think that's usually an issue at El Dorado. But a lot will change. I mean, we're talking early August versus late September. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's September 25th. It's going to be a full-blown fall bite, I would imagine. So, but I'm excited about it. I'm not real super confident at El Dorado myself. I have fished it probably more than a lot of other guys that are going to be fishing that event have. But, my experience there doesn't necessarily make me comfortable. You can go out on El Dorado Lake and get skunked any day of the week. It's a tough lake, but there are good fish in there. Somebody's going to catch them. Somebody's going to come away with a good limit, and it may be totally unexpected. It may be somebody that you didn't even expect. So I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited to see some guys qualify for the Kansas Bass Nation Kayak State Championship, which you've already qualified for. What do you think about Melbourne? How do you feel about that one coming up? That's not too far from home.
No, it's just a short drive down the road. I'm excited for it. So that's another one I would like to make a trip down to and just look at. I probably won't be able to do what I did in the spring. It'll probably be a different pattern altogether. So I just hope the wind doesn't blow like it did earlier this year, because that was a little rough on everybody, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine you probably. I don't know. Satellite is made out of a bean can. I don't know. I don't know where he gets this stuff. He just makes it up, doesn't he? Chris
Uh,
needs to. How often do you
Between
fish
the
up?
worm and the worm,
Yeah, never.
I carry some around, but I think that's one of my last techniques that I'll go to. So,
Same.
and I don't even know if DJ fishes it weightless or with a sinker or anything.
I think he was saying most of the time it's like a little tiny split shot.
Really? So I mean, the few times I've seen him, passing by, it looks like he just slowly drags it out of the grass. And I mean, you put it in front of a fish, he's probably going to eat it. So I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah. Or a beetle spin. You were going to say that too.
Yeah, or the beetle spin, trusty beetle spin.
So awesome. Well, let me see here. I know you've had a long day and you're probably ready to go hit the sack. Let me look real quick and see if I can come up with another question. Let's see. Is there one thing that you do consciously that you try to set yourself apart from other anglers? So with maybe the types of baits or the way you fish them, like the crankbait. So you can't use this as an answer, but like the crankbait, burning it, you're getting a bunch of people saying that, hey, we don't do that. Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's why it works for you, right? Is because this is something that, one, yes, reaction bite, but two, like they don't see that a whole lot. So it's like, hey, what's that? But oh, okay, that's Matt Skucius.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I know. I noticed one thing is in both clubs, some guys they will take out 5, 6, 7, 8 Plano tackle boxes full of tackle. Uh, I take out one deep. I think it's a 3700 series. I just take out one box, and I just got a handful of confidence baits in there that I throw. I don't want all those options because I'll spend all day looking at them, changing every 5 minutes, trying to figure out what to do. I usually just take a handful of what I'm confident with and go with that. I try to keep it simple. So um,
Nice.
I know I think some guys get overwhelmed maybe because I got so much to work with. They may not know what to try or what to put on. So keep it simple. Look at the time of year you're fishing. Pay attention to the water. Pay attention if there's birds around feeding on shad, that sort of thing. So water conditions, water clarity, weeds. Rod and reel setup. Lately it's been a 7.4 medium heavy extra fast tip. It's actually a Gerald Swindle rod. And then
Who makes that? Is that Luz?
I want to say that was a Quantum.
Okay.
That was a Tackle Warehouse special for like $70 that I bought here a while back, and it's just done well for me. And then got a dial well on it with a 7:3:1 gear ratio. So.
And what are you throwing on it?
Ooh. This is going to be a secret. Being that I burn a crankbait through the grass with that one, that is actually mono because it's got a little bit of stretch to it. So a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more play with it. If it's braid, it's almost got, it's almost, I guess, too tight. There's not enough elasticity to where you can actually like work the bait on the grass a little. It seems like with that mono, when I reel down to pop it out of the grass, it just works a little better. Oh, it's tough. Isn't it past his bedtime?
Probably. I didn't realize how tall you were until I shared this photo of us standing next to each other.
Yeah, I seen the photo on Facebook and I was like, holy cow, John's like really short compared to me.
I'm not tall, but I wouldn't necessarily consider myself short. So I was like, dang, I didn't realize. So I need to wear next time I wear my Mandex, I need to bring some high heels.
We'll put you on top of the picnic table there beside me.
There you go.
So,
Hey man,
as far as El Dorado goes, are you expecting a good turnout?
I hope so. For the Wichita guys, it's a no-brainer. It's right down the street. It's one that I think everybody has always wanted to master. I think this is a time of year where it could be anybody's game. We're probably going to see a lot of shallow fish. There's a lot of places on that lake that are going to hold fish. Um, so I think that, and we'll do it as a road runner. So you can go launch from wherever you want. If you want to go hang out in Sailboat Cove all day long, if you want to go hang out in the marina all day long, if you want to go fish, take notes. I'm telling you guys where the fish are at. If you guys want to go fish Five Fingers all day long. There's plenty of creeks. I mean, there's a lot of stuff up north. There's a lot of flooded timber. There's a lot of fish that you're going to probably be able to catch around bridge pilings. I mean, there's a lot of good rock that is going to hold smallmouth that time of year. So I think that it's one that all the Wichita guys need to show out for, and I think it's one that the guys from Flint Hills or Northeast or Southeast, they've needed an excuse to come fish El Dorado, and this is it. Qualify for the state championship. I'm excited about it because I feel like it's anybody's game. I'm not confident going into it thinking I'm going to win, but I think we all have a good chance of coming away with the win. I mean, you told me earlier you fished a tournament out there and 2 fish won it. I don't think we're going to see something like that, but you never know.
Give me your being in September. What are you going to say are the 3 baits to go to for that time of year to help these guys out a little bit more? What 3 baits do you think are going to succeed in that tournament?
I think that you're going to need a ribbon-tail worm, a beetle spin, and and a chatterbait. I think a chatterbait. I think a crankbait. I think moving baits are going to be good. Kind of more some shallow presentations, and then I think that you're also going to be able to go and find some deeper fish and maybe run a deeper diving crankbait or a football head like my buddy Justin Maples does out there. You can go fish the marina and catch them shallow, or you can go catch them deep in that same area too. So for me, what am I going to have tied on? Always have either a jig or a Texas rig tied on. Gonna have a moving bait tied on, if not more than one. Like a swim bait, paddle tail swim bait, chatterbait, crankbait, and I'm gonna have one of these. I'm gonna have one of these tied on because the smallmouth will hit these. I caught a nice 2 3/4 smallmouth. I know it's not a giant, but I caught a nice smallmouth out there on the west side of the main lake. There you go. Not too long ago.
Yep. Good.
Boom. Air Capital Chris says square bill, Texas rig, in jig. Insert legal dope, wake bait plug. So, and then CBG says I was hesitant to give up the creek. The creek stuff could be totally hit or miss. There's a bunch of them out there. But there could be some nice largemouth caught up the creeks that time of year as well. So really just depends on what your style of fishing is. I think that time of year you can probably do whatever suits your style of fishing. But
Good deal.
I'm going to let you go, Matt. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention or anything we might have forgot?
I think we covered it. So,
any sponsors that you want to shout out? You got a new line of rod and reels coming out that we can maybe, the Matt Skucius special?
the only sponsor I got is myself.
Heck yeah, in your second job.
Yep, my second job that helps pay for it. So
cool, man. Well, I'm excited to see you out at El Dorado, and if you do, I know you don't want to give up the juice, and I don't either. But if you want to go pre-fish out there, just let me know. We can meet up and make it happen.
That'll work. That'll work.
I'll intentionally take you to like the wrong stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
but
that works.
We have the Air Capital crew has been happy to have you this year. It's been cool fishing with you, getting to know you, rooming with you out at the strip pits,
yep.
And here you go, Kunis rods. So but yeah, man. So you are now and forever an Air Capital kayak angler.
Awesome.
So, all right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. Right. Appreciate you joining us. And
no problem.
We'll see you on the water.
Maybe we can do this again after El Dorado.
Hey, yeah, heck yeah, man. Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right. See you, man. All right, guys. There you have it. That was Matt Skucius, or as Fat Basses TV likes to call him, Kunis. He just couldn't get his name right, so it kind of stuck. But anyways, guys, definitely appreciate him coming on the show. Appreciate all you guys commenting and hanging out for this special episode of Behind the Reel. It's been really cool. This Behind the Reel podcast thing has really exceeded my expectations, and I'm excited about seeing where this thing goes, and kind of going to start looking at maybe branching out a little bit. I think we might have an out-of-towner coming on the show next week, and branching out and getting some different folks on the show. But guys, I've got some stuff I need to take care of inside the house. I've got a project I'm in the middle of. I was trying to finish up before we went live, so I need to go wrap that up before it's time to go to bed. But guys, once again, appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and we'll see you again on the next one. All right, signing out. I've come to associate this taste with a productive day at work and on the water. If you guys want to try a bag, go to outdoorsmancoffee.com, use code ACKA20 to save 20% on your next order.